You are listening to the Female Accountant Moms podcast with Dawn Goldberg, CPA. This is episode number 39, Pausing Your Career. Welcome to the Female Accountant Moms podcast, the podcast where busy female accountants who also happen to be moms like you get practical support and solutions you need to have it all, a successful career and a happy family. If you are looking for the solution to overwhelm and mom guilt, if you'd like to feel better and have more balance, as well as learn how to take back control of your life, you've come to the right place. Hey there, good morning. I guess it's morning for me. I'm recording this early in the morning on Sunday because my husband and I are going to head over to the beach in a little bit. I like to get to the beach early and then leave early. And we're so fortunate we live on Long Island, which I say to him all the time, we're so lucky that we live where people come for vacation. So we really do need to take advantage of these beautiful beaches that we have. And before I get started, I just want to encourage you, once you've listened to the podcast about pausing your career, I really encourage you to sign up for a free mini session, because if you're on the fence, if you're considering it, or if you're considering getting back into the workforce after you've paused your career, just having a coach to help you manage your mind through the entire process is incredibly helpful. So just want to throw that out there. So this is episode number 39, Pausing Your Career. Whether it's to raise your children, to be the caregiver for aging parents, or any host of reasons, hitting the pause button on your career may be something you've considered. The concept of pausing the trajectory of your career by working a reduced schedule or leaving your career entirely with the plan to return at some later point can come with a lot of questions and concerns. And depending on the industry and the company you work for, you may have been given the idea that it's impossible to pause without committing career suicide. Although there's been a shift away from manically prioritizing your work above your life, you still may have gotten the message that pausing your career will send the wrong message to your current employer and to any future employers. I began my accounting career in 1988 when topics like the advancement of women in a male-dominated workplace and breaking the glass ceiling were all the buzz. That's all anybody was talking about. Women were climbing up the ladder of corporate America, and they were showing others what was possible. So when I had my first child and decided that I wanted to pause my career path so that I could balance work with family, I had many concerns. The only options that I witnessed, now remember this is 1988, the only options I witnessed based on the women above me in the large firm that I worked for was to either continue working full-time and hire a full-time nanny or quit. Thankfully, things have changed over the years for women looking to pause their careers and for those looking to re-enter the workplace after pausing. More women than ever are exploring the fact that their career doesn't have to be a linear path, that a non-linear path is an option and can actually be optimal. So this week I'm going to discuss the questions and concerns you may have about pausing your career and how to make the decision to pause your career or re-enter after a pause. So I'm going to start with questions and concerns about pausing your career. Along with the topic of money, the decision to possibly pause your career is something that is often taboo for women. Many professional women have felt the need to hide the fact that they have desired to or actually have paused their career at some point. But that conversation is thankfully changing. In her book, Work, Pause, Thrive, author Lisa Stromberg chose to do her own research on professional women and how they were navigating work-life issues. And surprisingly, many had paused their careers at some point, but hadn't been comfortable being transparent about it until now. Some of the concerns these women faced when deciding whether to pause their career were the following, and you might relate to this. Fear that employer will learn they can do without you. Being sidelined professionally. Choosing to work a reduced schedule, but actually wind up working full-time on a reduced salary. Being assigned work that is less challenging and or less high profile. dealing with frustration and envy as those who have not paused get promoted faster, facing others' perceptions of you as not ambitious or career committed, needing retraining if your skills have lapsed, dealing with resume gaps. So these are just a fraction of the concerns expressed by women who were considering pausing or had paused and were now re-entering the workforce. What the author's research discovered is that most of the women in her study came up with some innovative solutions for creating a non-linear career that enabled them to work, to pause, and to thrive. She describes the 3 categories of women who paused their careers as the following. The first category was she referred to as cruisers. These are women who stayed in the paid workforce, but who pulled back from the fast track by electing to work part-time or on a reduced schedule. They re-engaged full-time when their children were older. The second category were boomerangers. These were women who left the paid workforce completely and then returned in full force to their previous industry and careers. And the third category was pivoters. These are women who stepped back, evaluated their personal goals and priorities, and then transitioned to new careers that were more in line with their skills, their abilities, and their interests. So each category, of course, comes with its own lists of pros and cons, but the key is that they had clarity about what was truly most important to them. They were willing to make trade-offs in the short term to achieve their long-term goals, and they knew their value. In my experience, when I decided to pause my career after having my first child, the only option I believed I had was to quit, but the partner in charge of the tax department had a better idea. He knew how valuable I was, even though maybe I didn't, and offered me a part-time position at a time when that wasn't a career option that was discussed. When concerned about your employer's perceptions, the author shares that when talking about pausing to raise a family, research is now coming out that shows that over the course of your lifetime, the most productive and most effective worker is actually a working mother. The limiting beliefs that working mothers are a liability is being debunked as employers are experiencing the numerous benefits. In addition, many women who return to work after a pause are afraid they'll suffer professionally because they may have to leave at 5 p.m. for childcare or other reasons. But the truth is that the woman who leaves at 5 p.m. may have gotten a lot more efficient than her coworkers because of the incentive of her family obligations. And this was definitely true in my experience. When I started my part-time schedule that the tax partner had offered me, and I had to leave by 5:30 to pick up my daughter from the babysitter, I would get sarcastic comments from my coworkers like, "Oh, working half a day again?" And I decided I went to the partner who gave me the part-time position, and I said, "You do realize that I get more done in 3 8-hour days a week than everyone else does in 40 or more hours a week?" And he said, "Of course I do. Why do you think I created the position for you?" So no matter what path you choose, just know that there are women who have had the same questions and concerns that you have. They made the decision work for them. And so can you by asking the right questions and managing your mind through it all. So now let's talk about deciding to pause your career or re-enter afterwards. Are you still on the fence about deciding whether to pause your career? Well, here's a statistic that may help. Per the author's research, of the women who had left the paid workforce and then later re-entered, 78% reported they had no regrets at all. 78%. That's amazing. What women who paused discovered is that the real power in taking a pause is the opportunity to have time to decide the course of your life, to choose what brings you joy, to reflect on your values, and to decide what it means to have a life well lived. They took the opportunity to define what is important to them, yet not abandon their ambition. After pausing my career to work part-time after my first child, I had a second child 4 years later, and decided to take an even bigger step back from my career. Even with my part-time schedule, I felt I was missing out on too much with my children, and I left my career entirely for 2 years. I gave up the nice office, the big paycheck, and the parking space because I was willing to reframe my priorities to meet the immediate needs of my family. If you are concerned about choosing to pause and then how to re-enter the workforce, there is assistance. So there are companies like iRelaunch that are dedicated to helping men and women re-enter the paid workforce after a career break. By championing the untapped talent of the returner market, the company has helped employers understand the value this segment of the population brings to the workplace. Companies are understanding that human capital is the most valuable capital, and it's the scarcest. And there's also programs like return to work internships that are referred to as returnships. This is where mid-career professionals who want to on-ramp after a career pause are given the opportunity for a short-term internship. These programs are becoming more common because candidates are already talented employees who, with just a little bit of help, can rejoin the workforce, eliminating the negative consequences of a resume gap. So whether it's deciding whether to take the off-ramp for a while or tackling the on-ramp onto the workforce highway, I can guarantee that managing your mind through the process is going to be of paramount importance. With the help of the Manage Your Mind model, my clients are able to clearly understand that every thought, feeling, and action you choose during the decision-making process will directly impact your results. So if you'd like some help with the Manage Your Mind model, head on over to my website at cpa-moms-coach.com and sign up for the free copy of 5 Simple Steps to Reduce Overwhelm today. So if you are still on the fence about your decision, then here are some questions to consider. So the first one is, what do you truly want and why? It's so important to get really clear about your thoughts and your feelings about pausing your career. You need to get clear about your compelling reason, because this will motivate you when your brain wants to create fear and worry about any decision you make. Number 2, what is your inner critic saying? We all know we have that inner critic, that voice that tells us everything that we do is horrible. You may be thinking that you will be throwing away your education if you pause. And that was literally the most difficult thought that I had to manage way back in the day when I paused my career. By getting clear about the thoughts creating feelings of doubt, confusion, and overwhelm, you can also get clear about how to choose more empowering thoughts. And the third thing, what are those deathbed regrets that you don't want to have? I want you to really envision yourself at the age of retirement, looking back over your entire career, and imagine what you would be thinking and feeling. Your lower brain is motivated by instant gratification, but your higher brain is capable of understanding the short-term sacrifices necessary for long-term success. Once you are clear about what your current thoughts are, you may want some help managing your mind to think better feeling thoughts. So here are examples of empowering thoughts from women who made pausing and re-entering part of their career choice. So listen to the following. I am a valuable employee for any company. If my current boss doesn't recognize my value, some other company will. Pulling back from my career doesn't have to mean pulling out. I value time as much as prestige and money, and for now, time with my family is the most important thing. I deserve to have what I want, and I am not afraid to ask for it. Pausing is the best decision for me at this moment. I can reignite my professional life when the time is right. The years I focused on raising my children has taught me how to be a better manager and leader, making me even more valuable to an employer. I will have no regrets when it comes to my career pause. So those are just some of the thoughts that the women who made this possible were thinking. So whether it's pausing your career to parent your children, take care of an aging parent, or write that book that's been swirling around in your head, disrupting the traditional career paradigm does not have to be a career killer. A pause can actually lead to a higher sense of self-confidence, an opportunity to find innovative ways to integrate work-life balance, and provide a great role model for your children. Remember, once you've taken that pause and are looking to get back on the career path, there is more help than ever before. Pausing my career and re-entering when the time was right was the best decision for me and my family. You don't have to do it alone because I'm here to help you with your decision when you are ready. So in summary, the concept of pausing the trajectory of your career by working a reduced schedule or leaving your career entirely with the plan to return at some later point can come with a lot of questions and concerns. More women than ever are exploring the fact that their career doesn't have to be a linear path, that a non-linear path is an option and can actually be optimal. The limiting belief that working mothers are a liability is being debunked as employers are experiencing the numerous benefits. Here's a statistic that may help you. Per the author's research of the women who had left the paid workforce and then later re-entered, 78% reported they had no regrets at all. Whether it's pausing your career to parent your children, to take care of an aging parent, or write that book that's been swirling around in your head, disrupting the traditional career paradigm does not have to be a career killer. So there you have it. That was episode number 39, Pausing Your Career. I just think that this is like super, super helpful that people are talking about this, that it's no longer this hidden, shameful thing like discussing money. The pauses that we take in our career for whatever reason. Most women take it for raising their children, but it could be for any reason. But I just think that the more we talk about it, the more that women can come out of the shadows and decide that this is what they want to do and that it's okay. So I want to encourage you, if you are considering pausing your career, just sign up for a free mini session and I can help you explore what's going on and help you to make that decision a little bit easier. So until next week, I hope you have a great week and I'll talk to you then. Bye-bye. Thank you so much for joining me today. If you like what you heard, be sure to click subscribe on your podcast app so you never miss an episode. You can also get my 5 simple steps to reduce overwhelm today for free by visiting me over at cpa-moms-coach.com. If you'd like some free coaching around an issue you are experiencing, go over to my website and schedule a free mini session.